Я буду стоїть.
Добре. А ви будете фільм? Ви будете знімати? Так. Окей, я планувала тут сидіти, тоді не можете сидіти. Я тільки тут покладу, просто щоб її не скинули.
The piece of
Yeah.
piece of wood.
I've chosen a small extract.
When we get that part about books, so we will.
Perfect. Just give me a.
Yeah.
Okay, so we can start, yes? Hello and welcome. Thank you so much for choosing to spend Saturday afternoon with us. We are UAID International, a charitable non-profit. We deliver medical and humanitarian aid to Ukraine. We're all volunteers and everything that you donate goes to the cause. And my name is Natalia Tronenko and I'm the founder of this organization. And I'm delighted to welcome Сергія Адаменко Патрік сьогодні і Ярослава. Ярослава представить Сергія. I switched the language, sorry. But anyway, just trying to encourage you. Was in a way of encouraging you to start learning Ukrainian. So if you would like to attend our future events, we can then have flexibility of inviting speakers from Ukraine who can only speak Ukrainian.
Or organizing courses.
Or organizing courses as well. So please welcome Yaroslava. She is a writer and a journalist, and she has many talents. She organizes art exhibitions, she sings in a choir, songs for Ukraine, and coordinates its work. She has only arrived to this country 2 years ago, a little bit over 2 years ago, and she has been so active, and she has kindly connected us with Sergei. Patrick, I don't know, do you prefer Patrick? Sergei Patrick. So she will introduce Sergei and she will explain why this particular literary talent is here with us today. Thank you very much, and I will speak a little bit about donations later.
Welcome everyone. I would like to introduce you to our writer, our defender, Sergei Adamenko, who is a call sign. Patrick is his call sign, right? Yeah. And his pen name. So everything is pretty simple. I personally got to know Sergei in Kyiv at Book Arsenal, which is the biggest book festival in Ukraine, which is always, this festival always takes place amidst the war as well. And I'm very much interested in the, which I call phenomenon of Ukrainian military prose and veteran literature, and which I took mission to promote, and I'm extremely happy and honored to promote it in UK and in English language, and I think this book should be translated into English, and luckily we have all books are available in English, and I think that the writer will introduce and tell about himself personally. Just a few facts that he was. His background is rather vivid and diverse. He was an accountant, a business person, and even priest in training. And he was very much active in independence movement, and prepared and was a warden of First Ukrainian Church in Donbass, where he's from. He was born in Lugansk region, which is now under occupation. And that in 2017 he joined voluntarily the army, and he fought in the near Avdiivka, and he's in the first separate assault company of Ukrainian volunteer force of the right sector. Well, but the writer will speak about himself better, I hope, and well, kick off the presentation. How it all started, that okay. So, Sergey, tell us all how did you become a writer? Being bus driver, defender, and living in Ireland, in Argentina, being born in Ukraine.
Okay, good evening. Thank you very much for coming. I will evaluate your time. It's most important thing what we have. So as Yaroslava already said about myself, I won't be repeating. So we'll just start with the question how I become a writer. From maybe my not a childhood, maybe my school times, I was thinking about writing something, but I had no idea what should I write. Especially I was not very good at school, so actually I left that idea for years. But when I went to the front line, I spent in nearby Avdiivka and Donetsk region for 3 months with their volunteers and fighters of right sector. When I came back to Ireland, I just started reading short stories about each person I met at the front line. For me, it was very important because volunteers that they were not tolerated by our, I would say, government, but actually volunteers are not tolerated by any government because it's not possible to control these people, because they come to fight, to do their things, not by money or by words, by the call of their heart. And these people cannot be controlled by government, so they never been tolerated, and they are not tolerated even now. And I wrote that book. I wrote I choose 25 characters, my brothers in arms, as I call them. Started placing these short stories on Facebook, and then somebody told me, okay, do you want to place all these stories together and publish the book? Okay, I got that idea. So the first book came into life in 2019. I came back from on 2018. So this book came into light in 2019. It's not for sale, it's just to show you. It's very tiny, it's small, with the black and white pictures. This was important because for me, personally, I was so frustrated when people know about our defenders only when they die. You know, it's not fair. From my point of view, they should know them when they're alive, when they are coming across us in the street, in the public transport, whatever, and they must thank them for their courage to defend our country. When I was with the presentation in Leeds, one of the Ukrainians, but previous immigration, he said, why you don't write this in English just to let local people know about Ukrainians, about these heroes. So I liked that ideas, and I started writing another stories about another 10 people. If in first book they were just ordinary fighters, in this book you can see 3 people heroes of Ukraine, the people deputy, journalists, the scouts, very famous people. So this new book came into light in 2 languages, Ukrainian and English, and there were added 10 more characters. At that time, I cannot show the real name of these fighters, because many of them they were hiding their personality for certain reasons. So this book was published twice. This is short edition. There was another edition before. It a little bit slightly different, but every time, actually, this book has 6 editions, and each of one is different from previous one, because while time was passing by, the personal life of each of one they were changing. So I was adding new information about them. So when the full-scale war started, the majority of them they signed contracts with their Ukrainian forces, military forces, and there were no point to hide their names. So I asked everyone if they gave me permission to place their real name. So in this book, it's additional, it's 650, fourth edition. In this edition, you can see the real names, and unfortunately, those people who had been killed in the battlefield, you see their date of birth and the date of death. For example, this one, my commander, Da Vinci, you see his name and date of birth and date of death. While I was writing these books, I was actually writing a book about war. It's so okay. You take this negativity. It's so hard to write these books, because it will always bring you back to war, to some bad memories. It's actually like, when you write this book, it's draining your energy. It's so frustrating. So I wish to write some book, not about war, but it's something about life. When I was in Ukraine in 2019, I think, some idea came into my life. I don't know how it happened. Maybe my presence at the war, maybe my personal mystical events, they prompted me to write some book about life after death. I don't know how I choose the characters, I don't know how I choose the name of the book, but this book, it's very small. It's Flight of, okay, this one English translation book. This is Ukrainian. It's the first one was this one. It's like way of one's soul, in particular, from the birth and till the end, till the meeting of high energy. this soul came through 9 incarnations on earth, being woman, man, the animals, and trees.
Insect.
When I finished this book, while I was writing this book, I started learning history, archaeology, a lot of things, and my knowledge has like accumulated like snowball. And when I finished this book, I understood that I need to continue writing and write another book. So another book, it's The Gaze of the Raven, Pogled Ворона. It's another soul which goes from the beginning till the end. Actually, this only one. I killed all of one characters, but only one in this book, the last one, still alive. And this soul on the way to high energy intersects with the first soul. When I finish with this book, my knowledge has been bigger, much bigger, and I really appreciated everything what I got, and I decided to write the third book, just to make complete trilogy and like a complete connect this soul with their 2 previous ones. It's like cycle of life. If they're with the butterfly, in the beginning, this one is the end, and last pages, okay, last words of this book brings you back to the beginning of the butterfly. So this book was okay. With this one, I finished the trilogy, and after that I got a proposition from one publishing house to print this book, to publish this book in English. So last year I spent in translation, editing, printing. So now we have 3 books, same books, but only in English. And then I decided to print one book, but whole trilogy. So this only one book existed in the world at the moment, it's just the first one. This is the complete trilogy with 3 books inside. It's called Infinity. And while I was working on these books, I got another proposition from different publishing house, and we publish this book, Slaves Are Not Allowed into Heaven. It's actually 6th edition of the Heroes of Modernity, but it comes into light with a different name, and okay, inside is also different. It remains 35 heroes inside, but it's slightly different. I could say it's 6th edition of this book. It's also just was printed few weeks ago. Just there are not many. They are on sale, but there are not many for the moment because they are just were published in January. I think in January. And this also this is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is also book was published in American author house, publishing house. So it's like shortly about myself, about my books. Some of you, they read already my books. You have some some books from trilogy or the heroes of modernity, you're familiar with. If somebody wants to get them, please do it. I sign their each book.
Can you please tell our guests the meaning behind slaves are not allowed to heaven for those who don't know about the meaning of these words? Why it's different name?
Because these are different publishing houses.
Yes.
They offer me to print this book in their house, but as this book was already printed in this name in different publishing house, I cannot make like another book with same name in a different publishing house. So I decided to do it under the new name, and actually the book inside is okay, quite modified. So this is actually, I think with this one I finished, because every time I was publishing book, I'm thinking, okay, that's enough. Time is coming, and I start making new adjustments, editing, placing. So it's actually, I think with this book I will complete the story about the heroes of modernity.
I have a few questions
Please,
for you.
you ask.
Yes. Do you think that how's writing and publishing the book changed your worldview?
Yes. Actually, my books have changed myself. Actually, when I was writing, I was learning and was changing my mind. I don't want to offend anyone, but when I finished writing the Flight of Butterfly, I stepped out of Christianity, being student of theological institute for a couple of years. I was being prepared to be a priest. But while I finished this book, I realized that Christianity is not for me. No offense, I don't want to offend you with your beliefs, but this book has changed me completely, and my lifespan has been expanded
And
too much.
Did you change as a reader when you written your own books? Did you think you changed as a reader?
As a reader, I don't know. What do you mean? What do you mean as a reader?
Maybe you think, oh, that's extra is nice.
I know one thing. When I finish, I start reading more other books. You know, this affected me because before that I was working hard, not enough time thinking, not enough time for books, but it was just only excuse. You have to have all the time, instead of sitting in front of the bloody phone, take a book and read the book. It's actually, writing this book, it completely changed my mind.
So if not the war, what would your books be about?
Okay,
If you, for example, the war didn't happen and you decided to return to your childhood dream about writing books,
okay.
what would you write about?
The war is very, it's like, the war is like a drugs. Being there, you will never come back. I would like to present my friend of mine is just at the back. He is our soldier as well. He won't, his name is Dmitry, the code name Santa. He won't refuse that war is like a drug. I came from there, it's 2018, it's 7 years ago, and my mind is still there. I always was come back. This is like draining your energy, just absorbing your energy. And even in these books, I try to step out from the topic of war, but it was there as well. Anyway, the last character in this book It was a volunteer,
Yes.
you know.
Yes.
And in those two books as well, it was, my mind was connected with work. So actually, if I started reading energy now, just would like to relax, just clear my mind and write something different.
So there are plans for the future.
Yes, there are, but I won't tell you. I would like to keep it in secret, but it's, for the moment, it's not easy to start because you have to have some influence from inside just to start writing. But for the moment, last year I was completely involved in publishing these books. Actually, it's 5-6 books was published last year. It's a big job, and now I have to relax and continue writing.
So, what readers' response and feedback has moved you the most?
Okay, speaking honestly, not many of my readers understood what it's about. They telling me, nice book, I like it, I like stories, but they don't understand what I would like to convey to my readers. They say, okay, I like this book, it's very nice, but to see the chain of the first incarnation to the last, it's quite difficult to see there. For example, I think it's happened to everyone when deja vu, for example. We don't know what it is. Maybe it's our brain is playing, or maybe we were in a certain place in our previous life, who knows. And sometimes from my personal experience, the meeting poltergeist, something like some visual accidents, I would say, they prompted me that something is behind of our life, what we see. So with this one, I would like to bring my idea to my readers, and if you read all these 3 books, you know, they are intersect between of them, then you can see the heroes of butterfly in these books, and in this book as well. It's actually, I don't know, maybe some people think I'm crazy.
I would like to ask you to read an extract from The Heroes of Modernity, some about your brother in arm.
Okay, in English or Ukrainian?
Most in English.
In English, okay.
Or
Okay.
in Ukrainian.
Sorry, would it be a good idea if you read a little bit in Ukrainian and then we will ask maybe Alison to read some in English, or?
Yeah, I'm ready to read in English. My Ukrainian's not good
Yes.
enough to read. I'm getting there.
Okay, Alison, I read, my apologies, I read this story in Ukrainian because some people, they not very familiar with English, so I read one story and then you read that in English, okay?
Дякую,
Yeah?
дуже дякую.
Okay, I'll tell some parts in Ukrainian.
I understand
You
Ukrainian.
understand? Okay, my apologies. Now I have to switch language. How do you do this? Yes.
Oh, right, I get it. Right, see, I'm not even paying attention. You want me to read it? Right, this
we'll
whole
start-
page here.
So we will start with Ukrainian
All
and
right,
then
okay. Okay, I
Yeah.
want it. Yeah.
Ці герої, які описані в цих книжках, деяких з них я знав кілька годин, деяких кілька тижнів або місяців. І Про тих, кого я мало знав, я написав мало, тому що не було в мене можливості написати більше. З тими, якими я провів деякий час більше, я написав про них більше. Кожен з них заслуговує на пошану з мого боку. До них можна ставитись по-різному. У когось може бути зовсім інше ставлення до цих людей. Але для мене вони всі герої, тому що вони були зі мною там, тоді, коли для багатьох війни не було. І тому для мене вони є особливими. Деякі з них заслуговують на окрему книгу, тому що там є дійсно такі люди, які заслуговують на окрему книгу. Я хочу прочитати про ось цього чоловіка. Тут він є, його справжнє прізвище. В цій книзі я заблюрив його обличчя і не став писати ні позивний, ні його справжнє ім'я. Ви зараз розумієте, чому. Я зараз прочитаю його історію, а ви зрозумієте, чому все так сталося. Сучасні технології зближують людей дуже швидко. З цим бійцем я познайомився у Фейсбуці, вже будучи в правому секторі. Ми там разом збирали якусь допомогу на підрозділ. Потім ми випадково зустрілися та обмінялися, ніби були вже знайомі багато років. За кілька днів я приїхав на місце розташування і з радістю дізнався, що друкар був там. З перших днів ми почали спілкуватися та працювати разом. У нього була майстерня, яку він обладнав на свій смак. І там проводив багато часу, особливо, коли мені треба було спокійно поговорити по телефону. Кішка Машка залазила мені на руки, я міг довго говорити, радячи їй по наступному. Воді парамедик, який доклав багато зусиль, щоб добути та підрозділу автомобіль швидкої допомоги. І згодом завдяки його праці наш зореліт став найбільш екіпованою рятувальною машиною на фронті. Всередині він мав вигляд операційної кімнати з купою всіляких приладів, включаючи апарат УЗД, а зовні був схожий на бронеавтомобіль. Друкар навіть придумав встановити на авто прилад нічного бачення, щоб можна було пересуватися вночі із вімкненими фарами. Чоловік ніколи не сидів без діла, завжди щось робив, винаходив. Війну починав волонтером. Потім залишив свій бізнес на рідних, а сам пішов воювати. Так і потрапив у наш підрозділ. Кремезний, аж ніяк не старий, друкар не скидався на людину пенсійного віку. Подивившись на зачіску лева, він попросив мене зробити йому таку саму. І тепер носить козацьке вуса. Хоча хтось йому сказав, він став схожим на Алюта. За свою самовіддану працю він був заслужений нагороджений медалями за оборону Авдіївки, добровольців і АТО. Сподіваюся, що це його не останні нагороди і щиро вважаю йому успіхів. Потім це було на початку, потім це було в попередній книзі, це книга тут вже є постскриптум, родом з Нової Каховки. Родом з Нової Каховки. Після початку повномасштабного вторгнення місто потрапило в окупацію московицьких військ. Олександра Івановича по доносу сусідів було запроторено на підвал разом з його сином Іваном, який також перебував у складі першої ШР на посаді водія-парамедика. Після 27 днів знущань та катувань їх було випущено на волю. Під час обшуку в його квартирі було знайдено книгу «Герої сучасності», яку йому вислали раніше з першого видання. Олександра Івановича били нею по голові так, що він отримав струсок мозку. Щоб ви розуміли, книга – це є інструмент для нормальних людей, інструмент для донесення певної інформації до людей. Тоді, коли в руках виродків, вона перетворилася на інструмент катування. Це я вам для того сказав, що в цій книзі, яка вже вийшла в Америці, вже продається по всьому світу, я можу вам сказати, це...
Сергій, вибачте, можна на англійській зачитати?
Yes.
Okay. Want to stand up? Absolutely.
Yeah.
My advice. Right. In English. Okay. Excuse me, I'm going to have to lean on something. I'm an arthritic old woman.
Yeah.
Modern technology brings people together very quickly. I met this fighter on Facebook while I was in the right sector. We did some fundraising for the unit there. Later, we met by chance and hugged as if we'd known each other for years. A few days after I arrived on site, I was happy to learn that Trukar was there. Almost immediately, we started to communicate and work together. He had a workshop that he equipped himself, and I spent a lot of time there, especially when I looked for a quiet location to talk over the phone. Mashka the cat climbed into my arms, and I could talk for a long time while petting her fluffy head. Drukar, who is also a paramedic driver, did a lot to get an ambulance van for the unit. And later, thanks to his efforts, our Starship was the best equipped rescue vehicle at the front line. Its interior looked like an operating theatre with a pile of devices, including a US apparatus. Its exterior looked like an armoured car. Drukar even came up with the idea to install a night vision device on the van so that you could move at night with the headlights off. The man never sat idle, he was always inventing something. I knew that he had started the war as a volunteer. Then he left his business to the family and went to war. That's how he got into our unit. Full-bodied and youthful-looking, Drukar did not look like a man of retirement age. Starting at lion's hair, he asked me to give him the same hairstyle. And now he has a Cossack moustache, although someone told him that he looks like an Aleutian man. For his selfless work, he was deservedly awarded the medals for the defense of Avdiivka and ATO volunteer. I hope these won't be his only awards, and I sincerely wish him good luck. P.S. Originally from Novokakhovka, after the start of a full-scale invasion, the city was occupied by Muscovite troops. Alexander Ivanovich, at the denunciation of his neighbors, was taken to prison, together with his son Ivan, who was also part of the first SAC as a paramedic driver. They were released from prison after 27 days of humiliation and torture. During the search of his apartment, the book, Heroes of Modernity, was found, which I had previously sent him from the first edition. Alexander Ivanovich was hit on the head with it, so that he received a concussion.
Thank you. So in this edition, new one, when I spoke to him, he asked me to do not publish his name, his picture. So in this edition, you see his picture is blurred and there are no name, even in the text has been modified. So as I said, for normal people, the book is the way to bring in information, some useful thing to people, to readers, when in the hand of savages it becomes an instrument of torture. So that's it. Unfortunately, pretty sad, but I think there are many books will be written later. We have a lot of books, but when we realize the amount of crimes committed by Muscovites, we will be shocked. Okay, we're shocked already, but we have to bring this into their world, show whole world who are these savages.
What your fellow writers, military writers, veteran writers, what books impressed you from the ones you've read? I'm sure you've read some of them. Which authors which writers of your comrades? And which should be translated into English and why, if they are not yet?
Unfortunately, I have some sad story. In 2021, I had a friend on Facebook. I don't know where we become friends on Facebook. It's actually, there are plenty of them. Sometimes he was writing me some short messages, just exchanging some information. I did not pay any attention who is he, because I saw that the Facebook was under certain name. It's not his real name. No, it was okay. And once he said, okay, I'd like to present you my books. I said, okay, why not? With pleasure. When I went to Odessa in 2021, yes, half year before the war started, the full scale war started, he sent me 2 books to Odessa, to a friend of mine. She brought them to presentation. I accepted them. Okay, there were a lot of events, a lot of information. So I just forgot about it. I brought them to Ireland. I put on the shelf. And then, when the full war started, I lost any contact about him. Yeah, speak honestly, I forgot, because we were never met in person. I have a lot of friends who write in me. Even I just lost information about him. But suddenly on Facebook, I came across with one post. My friend was writing about him. He was a colonel of SBU, special, okay, service of national security, something like that. Okay, kind of. When Mariupol was surrounded, all officers they ran away. They left just 3 of them. He was one of them. He was fighting till the moment when he was severely injured, and he was brought into a hospital in Mariupol, and then he was killed in that hospital by aviabomb, and that his remains were carried, translated to the Ukrainian controlled territory. He was identified by DNA, and after that, I wrote his books. There are 2 books. I cannot express my feeling, because at that time I didn't pay any attention to him. And I wrote those books when he was already dead. So this story is quite sad story. It made a big impact on my mentality, I would say. That's it. Don't want to talk again about this.
So I want to focus then on trilogy to change a bit the subject and ask, do you think that these stories that you write, that they appeared from somewhere, you don't know from where, like someone whispered, it's your words, yes. Do you think that the places or the heroes or the times may be connected to your own past lives?
Maybe. Okay, as I said, as it's been written in my books, I swear, I don't know how I choose the titles. I don't know why. I don't know why butterfly, why raven, why wolf. I don't know. I don't know how I choose the characters. Some of them, okay, in this book, many years ago I read a book about some Tibetan monks, the Chodai. He was explaining about the transmigration of souls, the life after death. I had a big impact because of when I finished that book, and I wanted to include that character. I just use it in that book. Okay, it's not. I will not copy it, just use it as a character. But regarding the rest one, I cannot explain. It's like it was coming from the sky. I have to just remember and write it. This book was written in 2000.
Тут він. Добрий день, я вибачаю за запізнення.
This book, at that time I was working as a bus driver, doing service Dublin, London. It's a long journey, 12 hours one way, so a lot of time while I was driving, okay, these stories were coming into my head, I don't know from where, when I had a free time, just writing down, just to remember what I got while driving. So that book, I would say, was written on the. I don't want to lie. I don't know how I choose these characters, the titles. Like this.
Maybe we would do the same. You would read one extract in Ukrainian, and then Alison, please read the one that.
Okay, let Alison read the
English.
Yeah, and then it's at the end of Raven, is the chapter Raven. Of Raven.
Yeah, Raven. Would you like to read the beginning of Raven or?
I was going to read the end. The end of it feels quite. To me again. This is great for me because the people who know me, if maybe follow me on Facebook, I'm always surrounded by crows, by pigeons, by squirrels. I have PTSD and I find nature extremely healing, and I seem to attract, something about my energy is I attract lots of animals come, and got to know them and their individual characters and so forth, and I just feel a lot, and I meet a lot of Ukrainians in the special places, Brompton Cemetery, because they're also feeling that it's a place of healing. So I look forward to reading this whole book, because even just chatting before, I think I'm going to really enjoy it. So I'm going to start just by reading a bit of the blurb on the back. I'm really going off piste here. Have you heard of the transmigration of souls? Or perhaps you felt a strong connection to a person you just met, as though they were an old friend? Do you know what a kindred soul is? Have you ever encountered mystical events in your life that left you puzzled? If so, this book is for you. I'm going to a chapter, this is obviously about a raven. Or is it? Is that what it's about?
Добрий день.
Добрий день.
Вибачте, що ми так не в дрес-код.
In Scotland we say, come into the body of the cup. Right, there's metaphors galore here. It happened early one summer morning. He flew to the fortress as usual, hoping to find something to eat. Suddenly, he saw many armed men sneaking towards the stronghold. They moved quietly and tried not to make any noise. The raven felt men about what to do. Then he flew to the lookout post where the fort's guards were usually stationed. But he was disappointed to find the guards sleeping peacefully on bales of straw. He cawed several times, but no one reacted to his cries. He looked back at the approaching armed men and realized time was running out. He spotted a large stone on the ground, landed and picked it up with his beak before rising high into the sky. He flew over the sleeping guards and, aiming, dropped the stone on one of them. The stone hit the guard's iron helmet, but the soldier didn't wake up. The alternative was for him to descend onto the chest of the guard and peck him hard on the nose so he would wake up. That plan worked perfectly. The guard cried out in pain and jumped to his feet, grabbing his spear. The raven flew away and perched himself on the edge of the wall. "I'll show you," the guard shouted, running to the wall while waving his spear. The bird flapped his wings and flew towards the approaching attackers. The guard immediately understood everything. "Alarm, everyone to the walls," he shouted. Seeing the guards awake, the raven cawed again and flew away. The garrison hastily prepared for the impending attack. Thanks to the raven's timely warning, the fortress was ready when the army reached. The raven became a respected and welcomed guest in the fortress, as the defenders knew to whom they owed their lives. So the place for the nest was not chosen by chance. Spring came, and the raveness laid the first 4 eggs. She sat on them constantly, while the raven ensured she was fed. Gradually, chicks began to hatch from the eggs. They were funny and, unlike their parents, featherless, yellow-mouthed, and always hungry. The adult birds had to work hard to feed their growing family. Soon the chicks started to fly. At first they didn't fly far and constantly returned home. Then they began to appear at home less and less frequently. Eventually the raven and the raveness were left alone, but only until spring brought new chicks. This cycle repeated every year and seemed to them it would last forever. But a harsh and hungry winter arrived. There was no escape from the piercing cold. The birds tried to warm each other with their bodies, but it helped little. One frosty day, the raven flew out of the nest, hoping to find some food. People in the fortress were also struggling, but the raven found some offal that the people had discarded as garbage. He flew home, where his mate was weakened by hunger and cold, but it was too late. She died before his return. The raven stood on the edge of the nest and looked at his beloved, hoping for a miracle, but her frozen body showed no signs of life. Only her feathers occasionally rustled in the fierce wind that blew repeatedly, and I'll leave it there.
Thank you.
Now it's questions and answers time. If any of you have questions,
Okay,
You're-
if the
you're-
question is in
you're
English,
welcome to ask,
it will be
yeah.
answered in English. If
Yes.
the question in Ukrainian, it will be in Ukrainian.
and if translation is needed, I'm here.
Yes. Okay, question, please.
You said after writing this book, Butterfly, you understood Christianity is not for you.
Yep.
Yes. So what came instead of it, or how are your views on the world, or any philosophy, or how you understand our universe? So if it's not Christianity, which you have been
Understood. Okay, thank you.
into, what is it now?
When I started delving into history, digging deeper to our history, I realized that in those times when Rus were pagan, we were directly connected with universe. For me, I know that Christianity just cut this connection, and we have to communicate to God through them. So I choose to be pagan. Luckily, I live in Ireland. It's actually the country of paganism. You can see a lot of churches around. It's a Catholic country, but it's so connected with the paganism. Even you see the cross like this. In Celtic cross is like with the cycle. And what happened when St. Patrick started converting Irish pagans into Christianity, he found a lot of opposition. So just to alleviate this, he put the cross over their cycle, which actually represents cycle of life in paganism. So they just accepted this kind of, I would say, combination Christianity and paganism. And I started traveling around the country, meeting a lot of old places, dolmens, some caves. They preserved in very good condition. And for a year I've been in Ireland. You just see a lot of things connected to the paganism, and there is also a place, sacred place for Irish pagans, Hill of Ushnak, and every year Beltane it comes on 1st of May. They celebrate a big bonfire. A lot of people gather in there. So, despite of centuries of Christianity, the tradition, pagan tradition, has been preserved, and people continue practicing this. And for me, it's very interesting because it used to be from inside I didn't like. So for me, I don't need any middleman to communicate with God. I don't think it's like old man sitting on the clouds and just choosing, you go to hell, you go to heaven, you know. It's really ridiculous, you know. I know God exists. How he likes, you can read. Okay, in my opinion, you can see in the butterfly. This is the myth of soul with the high energy. From my point of view, it's like this. I don't know. I tell you one big secret. We all gonna die. One day we will pass away, and then we will see what's gonna happen. Who knows? Maybe I'll be an animal or somebody else. Who knows? I don't know. It's very interesting. But for me, I realized that paganism is, for me, it's like play with my soul, you know. It's actually, I enjoy it. And what the interesting thing, when you send question, you receive answers immediately, but you have to understand what this answer mean. It's not easy. Sometimes we cannot explain our, I would say in different way. We have to control our thoughts, because our thought understood up there directly, you know. So you have to be very, very careful when you're thinking about something. It's actually also we have to to identify these questions, identify them in the right way. When it's maybe it looks funny, but one day, it was in 2020 or 2019, on the Christmas Eve, I was working, and that day I decided, I gonna take out my cross, and I decided, now I'm pagan. When I drove bus into Cork, I committed it. Six. I was so frustrated, you know. It's happening in the Christmas Eve, exactly, you know. Yeah, my hands were shaking. For fuck's sake, God's sake, that guy is alive. You know, it's okay. But it was like, you know, big show in the middle of the city. I was a hero of this show. And then I asked my friend of mine, she is practicing paganism, and she said, okay, you're stupid, you cannot do this. Because if you were connected to Christianity, you were connected to Christian egregor, it's very big energy. They won't let you go and see easily, go, because you were supplying energy to them. So I did some special procedure just to go there and just to be accepted to paganism. It may be funny, I don't know, but I never saw, when I came home, I saw Raven sitting on the top of the door, just looking at me. Then staying in church for 3 hours, doing nothing, just, especially I don't want to go deeper because there are a lot of dreadful things done by church. Actually, I in these books I criticize church in a certain way, but also I don't want to offend any beliefs, because I know there are some people who believe in Jesus Christ or whatever, they go in church every Sunday. It's your choice. I don't want to offend. It's just my point of view. Okay. Any question? Yes, please. Yeah. Any more questions?
Do you need translation? Anyone?
Yes, please.
What brought you to Ireland?
What?
What brought you to Ireland?
What?
Brought you to
Чому ви зупинилися в Ірландії? Опинилися?
Привело вас. Що привело вас до
So
Ірландії?
sorry. My apologies. I didn't hear it. In that time, I was in Argentina, living in Argentina. After that, we moved with my family to Argentina. I spent there 5 years, and after that, 9/11 terrorist attack in America, life stopped in Argentina. So I decided to move to Ireland, and by accident, I met a man who explained me, okay, you can come. In those times, you can come to Ireland easily, without any difficulty. Then it was the thing was changed. Why? I don't know. Maybe it was decided on the top. I don't know. But I never regretted about this. We were quite happy living there. Maybe it is my path. Maybe I don't know. It was sometimes things happen. You cannot explain why. No. It is great. Okay, any more questions? It's because time is running out. We need to answer any questions, make a picture.
Yes.
What is important? I brought a flag of my university. And normally I do a picture of this flag, and you can touch, you can read it. On the top here, you see the sign of my commander Da Vinci. He wrote this. He wrote, або здобудеш українську, або завідеш у боротьбі. And I would like to make a big picture with this one. Okay.
So if no more questions,
No,
then
Do you have a couple of more questions?
We have
And-
questions.
yes,
Yeah.
and also, yes.
So I understood correctly, your commander was Da Vinci,
Yes.
Dmitro Kotsubайло. Please tell us a little bit about it, whenever you can tell. Please, because I had heard he's legendary, despite he's very talented and devoted and.
I was speaking about people who, okay, Da Vinci, at that time I came to the unit, he was 22. 22. He could be my son. I wrote the first book. He was not in that book because Da Vinci was already very well known. And then I decided to add him into this book. If in that edition there are no real names, in this book I include few pictures of him. In this one you see the first man standing, that's Da Vinci. As well, he's Belarusian. Dmytro Kotsubайло represents the modern Ukrainian people. It's future of Ukraine, because he is not just only fighter. He was, I would say, he was taught he was my languages. He was rising in patriotic surrounding. His grandfather was a fighter of Ukrainian insurgent army. So this is not just about men who fought at the battlefield. He was always saluting Slava Ukraini. He was always providing some training, patriotic learning. They made a museum in Avdiivka with all the some exponents about the war. He was training his soldiers as patriotic ones, not just to fight. We have to understand what we're doing, why we are fighting, and this is the reason our unit was so strong, and there were high discipline, and for me he is like example of good commander. Even when he died, he was 27, I think. Yeah, 27. My first book presentation was in 2023 on 15 March. Oh, exactly, 15 March. But 2 years ago, just a week after the videos died as well. So you can read this his story in this book, or no, it is not for sale. So in these both books, a short story about him, about our unit. So for me, it's unrecoverable loss, unfortunately, unrecoverable. But
Silence.
please. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
There are no more, any more questions?
That's it. I just wanted to say something, if that's all right. Since just today's talk the thread yesterday, it was coincidental, and today we're talking about mystical things as well, about the volunteer initiative called Unwritten, Недописані. And yes, they released a list of 239 Ukrainian literary figures who were killed in or died as a result of Russia's war against Ukraine over the past 11 years. And the full list, which includes writers, poets, translators, editors, publishers, literary scholars, librarians, printers, and literary promoters, was published on the project official X page. And here's a quotation. In 11 years of war, Russia has killed 230 people of letters. Them are military personnel and civilian men and women. And how fortunate we are today that that number does not include Sergei, Adamenko, Patrick. Thank you so much for being with us, for sharing the stories, and for making us think about the connection, and your books about life after death will help us maybe the world we're living in, and think about the hero. And
Thank you.
Before everyone, can we take the picture, Sergei, there with the flag?
We will stand. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yes, Вставай, ви сідали поруч, де на моєму місці. Без поваги, швиденько поваги. Шановні, дивимося сюди. Так, наступний. Увага, фотографуємо. Наступний. Увага, фотографуємо. Підходимо, купляємо книжки.
Can I just say a few words, because of course it's a intellectual, cultural event, but also a charitable event. So I'm just reminding you that we accept donations. We are raising funds now. We have raised a few thousand over the last few months. We spent them all. We bought 3 cars, we bought lots of generators, about more than 10 generators and charging stations, tactical medicine, and now we have only £300 left. So we are raising funds now to buy a car for the unit which is in Dnipro region, and they need it for the Donetsk region. So here is the cash. We accept card as well, and also you can photograph our QR code, spread the word about us, share it with your people, friends, and donate regularly, please. £5 a month would be amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming, I really appreciate it.
Наталю, чи можна зробити оголошення?
Yes, and announcement from distinguished members of Ukrainian Club.
Хвильку.
Спочатку з краси.
Це пиво називається Соловейко. Намалював цього Соловейка шотландець. Тут написано, як його звати і хто він такий. Ієна, якого ми підтримували, це буде